It's the virtual night of the year. It's the announcement of the winner of the Text Prize for 2021. And also tonight, we're announcing a new initiative, the Steph Bowe Mentorship, but I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. So I'm Michael Hayward. I'm the publisher at Text. And before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we are going to speak to each other tonight and pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. The Text Prize becomes a teenager this year. It's 13 years old, and in all of that more than a decade and a bit of its existence, it's made a big difference. It's helped to launch the careers of some extraordinary writers, very brave and talented people, and it's underlined, I think, as a general principle, just how great writing for young adults and children is in our country. The prize every year sends an alert to booksellers that there are wonderful books coming their way and have come their way in the past. And it says to writers, fish that manuscript that you've always wanted to complete, fish it out of your drawer, get it done and send it in to the prize because, it might just change your life. So there would be no Text Prize without the extraordinary commitment of everyone at Text. We all work amazingly hard and diligently to read the entries. We take the whole process very seriously because one of those entries is going to be the winner. And I especially want to thank, apart from everyone who's contributed at Text, Sophie Mannix, who has administered the prize with great aplomb this year, and especially given that it's the first year of the Steph Bowe Mentorship. Sophie's done a wonderful job. I want to thank Jane Pearson because she's been a great champion of the prize over many years. I want to thank Kate Lloyd for her peerless marketing expertise, and I want to thank Julia Cathro, who's an amazing marketing coordinator. And finally, I want to thank Jamila Kodja in particular because Jamila is a pyrotechnical publicist. Let me say something now, please, if I could, about the Steph Bowe Mentorship. Steph was a beloved author at Text. Between 2010 and 2017, we published 3 of her novels, and she had a really wonderful collaborative relationship with her editor, Penny Houston. Steph was just 16 when we first published her, and her writing already had a breathtaking maturity. She died in January last year, 2020, after a long illness and just a few days before her 26th birthday. She was not only a hugely talented writer, but a gifted teacher. And so in partnership with her mother, Danielle, and sister, Rhiannon, we decided to honour her memory and to celebrate her achievements by creating the Steph Bowe Mentorship to nurture and encourage new writers under the age of 25 who are writing for children or young adults. The mentorship is awarded to the Text Prize entrant, whom the judging panel believes will receive the most benefit from it. The winner is then paired with a middle grade or young adult author for a 20-hour mentorship over a period of 6 to 12 months. The winner also receives a 12-month membership with Express Media, complimentary issues of VoiceWorks magazine, and a 12-month membership to their State Writers' Centre. I'm delighted now to be able to introduce you to Alison Evans, who has generously agreed to say a few words about Steph. I'm sure you know Alison, whose stellar novels for young adults include Euphoria Kids, Highway Bodies, and the award-winning Ida. So here's Alison.
Hi, my name is Alison Evans. I am coming to you from the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I pay my respects to the elders past and present. Sovereignty was never ceded. This land remains stolen to this day. And that's something that I think we all need to keep in mind as we live, work, and create on these lands. I'm here to talk about Steph and her work. I first met Steph in Newcastle at the National Young Writers Festival. And when we first met, it was just like we had known each other forever. She was so warm and funny and really, really kind. And we swapped books, which was really nice. And I read Night Swimming, and it changed. I feel like it changed my whole life. She was such a beautiful writer, and I think the fact that her 3 books are so starkly different from each other is just a real testament to how talented she was as a writer. Yeah, I don't know. She was just one of those people who, like, when she walked in to a party or wherever you were and you're like, oh, okay, Steph's here, I know I'm going to have an okay time. I know there will be someone that I can talk to. And I found out a bit later that we had both grown up in the same place. And I sort of, I catch myself wishing that, like, we had somehow met earlier by chance, but we didn't. Yeah, and I don't know, she was a fellow author and she was my friend, and I miss her a lot. Grieving someone is really hard, I think, especially in these times, but there is strength in community, as we have found again and again. And so I thought, rather than me talking this whole time, I just asked if anyone else had anything they wanted to say, because I know we missed out on the memorial, which was cancelled because of COVID, and now this has been cancelled again. And so we're recording, and yeah, anyway. Danielle Binks has this to say: when I talk about Lavo's YA with school kids, I love the moment when I get to tell them about Steph Bowe. They are always astounded by this author who got published as a teenager, and I will forever delight in getting to tell them that Steph captured that moment in time of being a teenager better than anyone, because she was one. Forevermore, her books are a time capsule, testament and tribute to her incredible ability to distill that liminal, luminous time of being a teen in Australia. Young readers will always be able to find her between the pages, and I consider it an honour if I ever get to introduce a new generations of young readers to her. Nicola Santilli says, Steph Bowe was an incredible writer and an even more brilliant person. She was a bright light, and being in her orbit made you brighter too. I miss her every day, but I am so glad that her wisdom and passion live on through her books and the legacy of this mentorship. Nova Wheatman says, Steph came to dinner with some writers when she moved to Melbourne a few years back, and I drove her home. She was so comfortable giving me directions to her house, telling me about her work and asking me questions. Even though I was considerably older, I was in awe of her maturity and grace. A truly fabulous person and author. Melissa Keel says, the last time I saw Steph, we were on a panel together at the library at the dock. We'd met prior to that 2 years before and hadn't spoken since, but Steph somehow remembered that old conversation, including the details of problems I was having with the book I was writing at the time. She was such a genuine, generous soul. Leafa Singleton Norton says, undoubtedly, Steph was a talented wordsmith, but she should also be recognised for the support and mentorship she offered the generations of young writers that came after her. There were no sweeping generalizations or pat advice offered. Her attention was wholly on the person in front of her, and she made a genuine connection to them and the shared passion for words she shared with them. It's a rare generosity, and one that I was struck by. I was an avid reader of her books, but after meeting her, I became an avid fan of her as a person too. I feel lucky to have met and worked with her even briefly. Chrissy Perry says, I met Steph in 2018 at Somerset and was quite mesmerised. There was a wisdom there that belied her youth. We had a great conversation about her experience of being homeschooled. It struck me that her mother had done an amazing job, because Steph was not only smart and knowledgeable, but empathetic, intuitive, and funny. A great loss. Nicole Hayes says, when my first novel came out, I didn't really know many other YA or kidlit writers, but Steph showed up at one of my very first events, told me how much she loved my book, invited me to another event, and made me feel part of things from the start. I was 20 years her senior. She was only a few years older than my eldest daughter, but it was Steph who took me under her wing. She was a mentor to many in this way. To have such grace and presence at such a young age, at any age really, but especially then, I've never forgotten it. She radiated kindness, warmth, and humour as a person and in her writing. Her passing has left an enormous hole in our lovely little community. Jessica Lewinda had a little piece of a poem, so I'm just going to read that. There is a field of asphodel waiting for you in the great unknown, a field of flowers aplenty where you will never grow old. And Will Kostakis, who was also published as a teenager and met Steph as a teenager. And so I saved his for last. So Will says this: with 3 books to her name at 25, Steph Bowe wasn't merely destined for greatness, she'd already achieved it. Her final novel, Night Swimming, is a triumph. And while I want her to be remembered as an accomplished author, I will always remember her for her friendship. When we first met, I was a teen author and she was a teen book blogger. It was a pleasure to grow up beside her. She had this warmth and a wisdom that made you think she was the oldest person in the room, and a laugh that made the world a little brighter. I think I'll always miss the light. Yeah, so I really think this mentorship is a perfect way to remember Steph. Yeah, she was always helping other writers, especially young ones. And this way her work can continue. Thank you, Steph.
Alison, thank you for those lovely words. Now it gives me great pleasure to announce the winners of the inaugural Steph Bowe Mentorship. And I say winners because we were so thrilled with the quality of the entries that we've awarded the mentorship to 2 writers. Each of these writers will be paired with a highly respected Australian YA author, and we'll be announcing who those mentors are in the coming weeks. But our 2 winners are Ellie Casey. Ellie is currently in her 3rd year of a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in creative writing and literary studies, and is a First Nations member of the Gamilaroi people of New South Wales. We Will Make Darkness is her first completed novel and the first in a trilogy. It's a powerful fantasy about lifelong friendship and ancestral magic. And our other mentee is Emily Morshek. Emily writes speculative stories and novels. In 2019, she received an Arts ACT grant to develop her first novel and was a 2020 Anne Edgeworth Fellow. Her novel's called These Cursed Waters, and it follows 17-year-old Alice, who is hunting the Kelpie that drowned her best friend. But the Kelpie turns out to be a cursed boy, and he is her only key to finding out what really happened in Scotland 70 years ago. So congratulations to our 2 mentees, and once more, can I thank Steph's family, Danielle and Rhiannon? Can I thank the staff at Text, Love Oz YA, Vicky Wakefield, and the following organisations for donating towards prizes: Express Media and the Network of Australian Writers' Centres.
Hi, I'm Andrew Patterson, winner of the 2020 Text Prize for my novel Rainfish. Rainfish was about a little boy who steals some rosary beads from a priest. After he does this, he feels extremely guilty. His guilt is like a big black panther that follows him around. As he tries to set things right, things keep getting in the way, and all the while his guilt keeps getting bigger and bigger and more out of control. I was looking through my papers recently and I realised that I've been working on Rainfish for well over 10 years. During that time, I went through 3 different laptops, had 2 manuscript appraisals, one of which told me that I should change it into an adult novel, and countless amounts of rewrites and editing and re-editing and re-editing. So to actually win was more exciting than Nobel Prize and Oscars all wrapped into one. And to see it actually in the bookshop, well, that actually happened to me yesterday, so I'm still taking a while to process it, and it might probably take me a long time to get the right words to describe it, going on past performance. I feel like I can't thank the guys at Text enough for all the help they've given me, and to the winner for this year, congratulations. And I know that you're going to be in for a great fun adventure, but also a bit more editing, because I had to edit it another 3 or 4 times before it got just right to publish. Anyway, have a great night, and hopefully next year I can come down and actually see people in person. Great, see ya.
And now it's the big drumroll moment to find out who has won the Text Prize for 2021. But before we do that, we want to celebrate all 272 people who entered the prize and the 7 writers who made it onto the shortlist, including Ellie Casey and Emily Morshek, who won the Steph Bowe Mentorships. So in alphabetical order, they are Alice Boyle for her novel Dancing Barefoot, a story about finding love and figuring out your place in the world. Alice is an English teacher. She's been published in the Black Ink anthology Growing Up Queer in Australia, and in 2019 she was highly commended for the Wheeler Centre's Next Chapter program. Blind Spot by Robin Dennison was also shortlisted. This is a novel about shame, intimacy, guilt and love. Robin's fiction has appeared in Australian literary journals, including as a runner-up in the Overland VU Short Story Prize. She's writing a doctorate at Melbourne University, where she teaches creative writing. Rachel J. Fenton was shortlisted for Between the Flags, a novel that asks what's the worst thing that could ever happen to you, but what if it had already happened and you just hadn't realised it? Rachel's fiction has won and been shortlisted for many prizes. She lives in Oamaru in Aotearoa's South Island with her family. The Boy in the Field by Sophie Lewis is a middle grade novel. We also shortlisted it. It's a story based on real events about a young Polish boy named Jan and the trials that he faces during the Second World War. Sophie was only 14 when she wrote The Boy in the Field as part of a school project. She's won lots of writing awards and has had various short stories published. And then the last shortlisted writer I'd like to introduce you to is Jacqueline Moore for her novel The Curious Case of the Cocoa Bean, which is a story, a middle grade story that's full of humour, interesting characters and with an intriguing setting. Jacqueline has been awarded a Varuna Mentorship and a Byron Residential Mentorship. I think you can tell from my accounts of those books and the writers who have worked on them just how high the standard of the shortlist is, and we congratulate all of our shortlisted writers. But I know you're all dying of suspense, and so it's time to tell you that the winner of the Text Prize for 2021 is Alice Boyle for Dancing Barefoot.
Thank you so much to everybody at Text Publishing for selecting my manuscript, Dancing Barefoot, for the 2021 Text Prize. To be perfectly honest, I still can't 100% believe it, but I'm so excited, and it is such an honour to be selected for this incredible prize. I know that so many talented authors have won the prize in the past, and I consider myself to be in incredibly good company. I also would like to thank all of the other authors who were shortlisted for the prize this year. It was an incredible field of very talented, creative people, and I feel very honoured to be included alongside you all. Dancing Barefoot began as something of a passion project when I was at uni. I was not seeing a whole lot of positive LGBTQIA+ representation on the page for young people, and I really wanted to see more representation of my own community on the page, because I really think that being a member of the LGBTQIA+ community is a joy and a wonderful thing, and isn't always represented that way in literature for young people. So I am so excited to work with the team at Text to bring this story to life and to polish it and get it down on the page and into bookshops and libraries and homes all across Australia, so that hopefully young people can read this story, connect with the characters, and maybe feel a bit more seen by a story that reflects their identity and their home. Thank you again to everybody at Text, and thank you so much for giving me this incredible, fantastic honour.